starting with college, I really attended predominantly white institutions. And so it was very common for me in school to be one of the only Black people in my class. And oftentimes, I think people who are in that position have this issue with like an inferiority complex, with feeling like, am I, worthy of being here? And the answer is yes. So a lot of what you have to do early on, I think, to navigate some of that internal bias that you may or may not be aware that you have is to believe in yourself. And then outside of that, you are definitely going to encounter external bias, right? And that's very commonplace. Even today, as an attending physician, when I go in, whether I'm wearing a white coat or not, people will frequently mistake me for, the nurse, the tech, the housekeeper, even though I very clearly am the physician. And so there's a couple of things I think, that are important to do that have helped me navigate my career as a physician of color. And that's first to always try to, maintain my professionalism. That said, you don't ever let anyone walk all over you. And so I do think it's important that I come off very competent, very precise with the way that I'm delivering my message, and make sure that people understand that, like, I have the credentials, there's a reason I have them. And, while I'm approachable and like a nice person, I am also going to be, respected for the background and education and training that I have. And so I find that once you've done that, people are much more likely to kind of fall in line and respect you more. And that helps to open up lines of communication where maybe people who had some preconceived ideas about groups of people could learn from you. Outside of that, I also think that it's still important for you to find mentorship within, your race, really, as you're moving through a career in medicine. So I was, very active in making sure that I identified other physicians of color and women and mothers, right? All those things that are challenging in medicine, and ask them for advice. What did you do? How was this? And a lot of times they'll tell me horror stories about things that they had to go through, whether it was certain prejudice or things that were said to them by patients or other practitioners. And I think that them sharing those stories are important because it shows, first of all, that we've probably made some progress, because I'll be surprised by a lot of their stories and what has happened, because that doesn't happen anymore. But also to just make sure that I understand that I'm not alone in those struggles, and that, we need to keep moving forward. But presenting myself as, a confident and respectable physician is one of the things that I think I do personally that helps to mitigate the biases of others who may think that, I'm not as great of a doc as, someone else that looks differently from me. And I also try to do that very publicly, which is why I've seized a lot of opportunity to speak on national platforms representing a woman and physician of color, so that others can see that, we can be well-spoken, well-informed, and, excellent physicians that someone from any background or any race would respect.